Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August Diamond Valley Writers Guild meeting. I'd like to welcome any new participants. If you are a new participant and you're on Zoom, just put it into the chat where you're from and how you found out about us, because we'd love to know that information. If you are a Zoom participant, please mute your mic so that we have no background noise or unexpected little conversations that you would rather probably not have recorded. That would be good. So I would like to first launch into an anthology update, and I'm going to hand that over to Kevin. Oh, by the way, I'm Michelle Bassett. I'm president of Diamond Valley Writers Guild. So Kevin, go ahead.
Okay, anthology update. It's a lot like last month. We're still in the final stages of editing. There's only a couple of pieces left, and I do believe we're waiting on one or two author bios still. On the other side, we've got the cover almost finalized, and we've actually voted and unanimously agreed on font size or font style, trim size, and book format. And we've got our ISBN numbers, so we're getting closer. Hopefully we'll have something more concrete here in the near future.
Thank you, Kevin. You're doing a great job. He's the one doing all of the formatting and layout and all of the interfacing with Drafted Digital, all the stuff that I absolutely do not want to do. So he is a great vice president, best I could ever ask for. Shout outs. Lynette, good morning. Lynette, are you there?
I am a brand new grandma, and the baby's sleeping downstairs, so I'm on this little tiny remote in the kitchen, and it is not playing nice with me. Hey, everybody. One of the great membership privileges of being a member of Diamond Valley Writers Guild is shout outs. And we send out every month news about what you're doing in the writing world, whether you've got a new book coming out, whether you're doing a live appearance, book signings, you have a blog post going out, you've won an award, whatever you're doing that you want to do and celebrate your writing, we send those out to our entire mailing list every month. So they come out on the 5th. We still have time, if you've done something exciting in August, to send that information into the Guild email, and that will be coming out around the end of the month. So, great perk for being a member, and send me your information so we can celebrate with you.
Thanks, Lynette. That's a huge job. She puts that together every month. She is looking for a deputy. If somebody would like to be involved with social media and or the shout outs and learn how we do that, please contact the Guild, and I'll put you in contact with Lynette and you guys can talk. Okay, merch, Diamond Valley Writers Guild merch. Kevin.
Well, as always, we've got all kinds of merchandise for shirts, cups, all kinds of stuff. And everything that's purchased through the Cafe Press website, on the website, a little bit of that gets contributed to the Guild. They take care of all their shipping and handling, the taxes, the orders, the refunds, the whatever. So they're an excellent resource. And right now, just came out this morning, there is a discount code for 30% off site-wide, or 45% off if you order $45 more. And the code is YAY45. So YAY45 gets you a discount, and that code is good till I think August 20th.
That's excellent. Excellent. If you're here in the room and you see all the merch that I have on the table displayed, I waited until there was a 40% off as well. So there's great sales. And again, you can reach Cafe Press, our specific store on Cafe Press, at our website, which is dvwritersguild.org. So yeah, go over there and take a look and see if there's anything that strikes your fancy. So next up is Jessica. She is going to be speaking about membership.
Hello, everyone. I know you see me every single month, and that is going to continue. So if you want to help support the Guild and you really like what we do and you want to see it keep going, the best way to do that is to become a member. Now, we don't just take your money and say goodbye. We actually give you some benefits to it. So first of all is you get to participate in guild reading events. We have 2 every year. We have the now April poetry and we have the October prose reading. So if you want to participate in those, you do have to be a paid member of that year. You can't pay it forward. It has to be of the year it's happening. So you'd have to be a member of 2025 to read this year. You're also able to be considered for guild publications, such as our anthology. You have to be a paid member in good standing in order to be published and considered to go through that process. You are eligible for shout-outs, as our shout-outs go out every single month to our 450-person mailing list. You get to blast out all of your content to them. You are able to post to our member book page on our website, where you get to put all your books out there, and you get to have your own profile that people can interface with you directly, or you can interface with other members of the guild. And the last one is you have voting rights. Everyone likes having voting rights, so you get to vote in our end of year October election, where you get to vote for the members of the board. So all of us on the board, every year there is an election for half of the board. So this year it's actually president and treasurer that is up for election. That's us too. So if you want to try to replace us, you do have to be a member in good standing in order to run. All right, thank you so much. I didn't do prices. They're 2 prices. It does cost money. And so we try to keep it cheap. It is $25 per year, not per month, per year, for general membership. If you are a high school student, it is $10, and if you're a college student, it is $15. So you are able to pay either through PayPal. You can go through a portal on our website. You can look us up directly by our email, which is dvwritersguild@gmail.com. You can also send a check to PO Box 1154, and you are able to send a check or cash that way. Otherwise, I'm in the back of the room. You can give me cash or check right there. We do not take love and affection. Unfortunately, that does not deposit well to the bank. So please pay in cash or check. Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to have Jessica at the mic, and yes, we'll still give her lots of love and affection. In fact, I would like a round of applause for all the volunteers in the back of the room, please. Thank you. From left to right, and I don't know how that reads on Zoom, but we have Q, and he is going off to college this fall. Luckily, it's remote, so we're not going to lose him. I'm very excited about that. Next to him is Liam Bruce. He is our head tech guy. We got Jessica, who is all around micromanaging, does everything and does it well. Next to that is Sophia, and she's our hospitality as well as our secretary. And next to her is Aiden, and he is, as I affectionately would call him, our neck downer. You say, put that cord there and please set this up, and he just miraculously makes it all happen. So we've got a great crew, and we are looking for volunteers if you would like to be involved. Oh, and there's Angie. She's not in the back of the room. Where's Angie? There's Angie. She comes out every chance she gets, and she rolls cords and plugs things in. And that's Angie Little. So wonderful, wonderful support from everybody. We also need volunteers for more people who, if you would like to learn how we set this all up with the multi-camera shoot, the hybrid with Zoom, the recordings for YouTube, feel free, 8 o'clock at the library. If you be here, we will put you to work. There's also positions, as Jessica mentioned, open for the board. Again, every year we do have an election. If you're interested, please do not be intimidated. If you have questions about what it takes, if you would like to be involved with the board, please reach out and we'll be happy to tell you. By the way, our board meetings, which happen every 2 months, are open to any paid members. You don't have to be a board member to attend our board meetings to see what goes on behind the scenes. We need volunteers to do monthly tips, whether they're tech-related tips that involve writing or whether they're writing tips. And again, like I mentioned, we would love to have a social media assistant for Lynette who can teach somebody everything she knows about that. I'd like to make one announcement, and that is that the library is having a story contest, which the Guild has agreed to be the arbitrators of that. It isn't a contest to rank them, it's a contest to see which stories will be read at their Ghost Walk in October. So the stories have started coming in. If you're interested in that, you can go to our website. There should be a link there. If they're not, I'm sure Kevin will get one up to the library, to that page that explains the rules of submitting a story. It is not involved with the Guild, but the Guild we're the ones going to be reading the stories and deciding which ones are actually going to be performed at the Ghost Walk in October for the Hemet Public Library in the city of Hemet. Okay, let's see. I think that was all of that. Member successes. This is my favorite part. So what it is, and by the way, even if you're not a paid member, please participate in this. If you have had a success in the last month, maybe you appeared on a podcast, or maybe you had started a story, or you finished a story, or you won an award, or you submitted something, or you got accepted to publication, got an agent, whatever. I would love to hear. And in fact, we all love to hear the positive news of what's going on in everyone's lives. Is there anybody on Zoom that has something they'd like to share that happened to them in the last month, writing related, that was positive? Come on, there's got to be somebody. Oh, there's Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, it's not really writing related, except for it's guild related. Is we just posted the Bing's DVWG meeting onto our YouTube channel, so it is now available for public consumption.
And for those of you who don't know, Bing Bruce is a member as well, and he recently published Rise Above the Noise. It's a podcast related book, and he did a presentation for us back in June, so that's what Kevin's talking about. If you go to our YouTube channel, you could see all of the history back to when we first started recording under duress during the lockdowns during COVID. So everything's there. We've got some great speakers. We have some New York Times bestselling authors. We have screenwriters. We have all kinds of resources on our YouTube channel. Anybody else have something they would like to announce that they accomplished in the last month? Anybody in the room? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, I see a hand. Karen, please.
I'm unmuted, right? Yeah.
You are unmuted, Karen.
I've been having a lot of fun writing on Substack, and the other day it dawned on me that I needed to make a list of all of my postings, and I discovered that I've actually posted 40 times now, and I'm thinking that that's at least 30,000 words. So when I get to 50 postings, I'm going to throw all those into a book and publish it. So I thought that was a cool idea for writers who like to write short things.
Excellent. Well, and you are a prolific writer. Give her a round of applause. Excellent. Karen is very prolific. She's got a lot of books out. You can go to our website, and it's very fully searchable. If you put in Karen, her books are going to pop up. So anyway, anyone else on Zoom have something?
Dennis Conrad on Zoom.
Go ahead, Dennis.
I just say I am getting excited because I am launching my book October the 15th. I've got a book launch team that I'm putting together. It is for Titus and the Christian Coin. I've got 11 chapters of about a 12-chapter book that is coming together here. And it's the story of, it's a historical fiction Christian market that is going to take place at the time of Constantine the Great, the first Christian emperor of Rome, and a young boy who's persecuted in the period before that. And the story involves a hero's journey that really has a lot of ups and downs and ultimately a victory. So anybody who's interested in being on my launch team can reach me at dennisconradauthor.com and hit the contact and go ahead and send me a little email. I'll be glad to do that. And just be encouraged, everybody. I know sometimes we work in vain, it seems, when we're alone and everything, but don't give up and keep on trucking. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Dennis. Okay, anyone else?
We also have Tessa Floriano on Zoom.
Go ahead, Tessa.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yes, a couple of things. I pitched a new series, an interwar series set in Portland, a murder mystery series at the Historical Novel Society Conference in Las Vegas in June. And waiting to hear back from I submitted a partial manuscript to the publisher, so I'm waiting to hear back from that. And I also started the second story in Edwardian era mystery series set in Italy. I just started that second story last month. So pretty excited about starting something new.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, anybody?
We have one more hand on Zoom, Kim Pike.
Thank you, Jess.
Hi, I just wanted to let everybody know that a couple of things. I have scheduled my first book for release on October 28th. And we'll be having I'm a branch manager for the Sun City Library in Menifee. We're going to be having a local author fair in September 27th. So if people are interested, please let me know, because I can have people submit their interest in that. Also, I am in charge of the database for all of Riverside County Library System, and we're adding local authors who may be interested in doing different talks and whatnot. If you're interested in being added to the database, our libraries can then reach out to you, since you've expressed your interest. So trying to do a kind of a two-way thing where we help you as much as you help us. So anyway, that's it for now. If you're interested, just send me a quick chat. That's it.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Congratulations on the book release. And I'm so
Thank you.
happy you joined us this morning. It's nice to see all these fresh faces. A lot of the people on Zoom, I get to interact with them on email, but I don't always get to see their faces, so it's kind of a delight. Any other announcements of something?
I saw Fauzi Tun go ahead, or maybe you can go ahead and do that, Michelle. Did you see her?
No, well, we were about ready to, yeah. Go ahead, Fazia. Hi, Fazia.
Hi there. Sorry, I had to unmute. This past month, myself and two other authors from Mesa, Arizona, we launched a series. We launched our first, and it was successful enough for us to decide to make it a series of an event we call Read Act. Okay, so what we do is we book a coffee shop, an area in a coffee shop for 2 hours. And the three of us, we divided the program into 3 parts. And in each part, we each read about 5 minutes from any of our writing. So we had a theme, and it was unexpected turns. Our first segment was about humorous unexpected turns. The second one is about dangerous, and the third one was a learning curve. And we had a viola player coming to play a little piece of music between each segment. And because it was a coffee shop, people would get to buy some coffee and snacks or whatever. And I was surprised that it was quite well attended. Everyone enjoyed it. And we ended up with some raffles and questions and answers on what we said. So it was successful enough for us to decide to do another one for Halloween, where the topic would be scary stories.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Fazia, for sharing that. So no pressure, but if you pay your $25 and become a member, all your books get marketed on our website like forever. So it's great, and at least every year that you're a member. And that segues into something I'd like to announce. Diamond Valley Writers Guild had a presence this month. In fact, it was just last weekend. It seems like it was a lifetime ago. In Arizona, the White Mountains chapter of the Arizona Professional Writers had a conference, and it was a really good conference. There were over 50 attendees. Then they had a book festival the second day with over 100 vendors. Really great. In fact, some of the faces, Fazia, she and I, we chatted and got to know each other that weekend. Bing Bruce, who is also my husband, he presented Rise Above the Noise, Writing for Podcasting, the same presentation he did here in June, and everyone seemed to really like it. He also sold books at the fair, which was fabulous. And I presented Kickstarting Your Creativity. I hope everyone who is on Zoom got something out of that, but it was a great couple of days, and we had a booth. We're probably going to get some photos out on our website, and a lot of people signed up saying they were interested in Diamond Valley Writers Guild, and I'm so happy to see some of those names and faces today. Anyway, let's see what's next. Writing tip. Jessica Bruce has a writing tip that segues into the October meeting.
Hi again. So it's not really a writing tip. I'm going to make it into one, but I'm just going to tell you that it is coming up. The end of our program year is fast approaching. October is our last meeting of the year. That is when we have our election, and that is when we have our October prose reading, which I am the MC and facilitator of. So I am here to tell you that that is going to be opening for submissions on September 1st at noon. So come September 1st, I have to tell you 2 months in advance because it's a little bit longer than the poetry submission. There's going to be a lot more reading going on. So you're going to have about 6 weeks to submit. They close on October 11th at 11:59 p.m. So you have 6 weeks to submit, get it in, maybe even write it. Some people like to wait until the last minute. Not naming any names, obviously, but you're going to have 6 weeks. You also have about 2 weeks before it opens, so you can start getting brainstorming and getting your ideas down and maybe even write it and submit on the first day it's open. So we do have a couple guidelines that go towards any of our submissions. This is just a guild-wide set of rules, and these actually go a little bit beyond into other publishing, especially for anthologies or other sort of competitions that you join in. So the first one is that our word count for this event is 1,800 words. So 1,800 words, and we have something called the 3 Ps. You are not allowed to put in politics, proselytizing, or pornography. Keep those out of it, otherwise we have to either bounce it back to you or just say no thank you. But we're trying to keep it clean, family friendly. You know, we don't want to alienate anybody. So please keep the 3 Ps out. You are able to submit to dvwritersguild@gmail.com. Attach your submission in a Word document or docx file. Do not send it through PDF or any order, like, you know, JPEG or anything like that. It's harder for me, it's harder for us. I have to verify the word count and I have to read through it. So make sure that it's in a docx file. That way I can read it well and get it back to you with an approval or you might need to change some things. So if it has any problems, I will send it back to you. I'm not just going to leave you hanging. You're going to be hearing from me. So make sure that it's in a docx file or sent as a Word document. The other thing is that you have to be a paid member. Like I said, that is one of the benefits of being a paid member is you get to submit and read in our events. So you do have to be a 2025 paid member in good standing. Which is not a problem for anybody, but we have to put that in the wording. So make sure that you have paid your 2025 dues. If you pay ahead of time, because we are getting into renewal season, if you pay ahead of time for 2026, that doesn't count for this one. It has to be for 2025. When you send the email to me, I am Jessica Bruce, by the way, if you hadn't heard my name already, make sure that you put in prose submission reading in the subject line with your name. That way I know who you are and that it's for the prose. That way in the email, we get lots of emails, I know what to look for, and that I don't miss anybody. I don't want anyone not to read because I didn't see the proper heading. Okay. And now make sure you put it to the attention of Jessica Bruce. I will get it, and then I will put you on a list to read. You'll hear back from me relatively quickly. You'll hear back from me before the meeting, and I'll be in correspondence to send out what the reading list is going to be. But keep an eye out for it. We love to hear from you guys. This is my favorite meeting of the year, and this should be yours too, because you get to share your work with the entire guild and beyond. So you can share an excerpt from your work, or you can write something completely new. So it's really, really exciting. Make sure that your font for the document is something legible. Doesn't have to be Times New Roman, but please not Comic Sans, anything but Comic Sans or Wingdings. And make sure that it's in a big enough font, like 11, 12, or 14. And that way I can read it perfectly. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to see your work come in. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email through the guild, dvwritersguild@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer any of them. Or come see me if you're in the room after, and I will give you any other information you need. There will be a flyer going out the day of the open submissions. I don't want to compete with the September meeting, so I'm going to make sure that you guys will have the full submission guidelines before it actually opens. But just getting you thinking about what you want to write. Can't wait to see it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jess. Yeah, and I agree with her. This and the poetry are two of our favorite meetings during the year because, again, we get to hear what other people are doing and we get to share what we're doing. And that's kind of fun. Plus, if you're a writer that publishes at all, you are eventually going to have to read excerpts of your work in public. So it's a good practice as well. So please join us for that. We will be sending out written guidelines on this to the entire email list. And by the way, it's up to 493 this morning went out for this meeting. So we'll get that out to everybody so that you know what the exact guidelines are, so you didn't have to take copious notes. All right, now we're going into the keynote of our meeting. So I'm going to turn this over to Kevin to introduce.
Good morning again. I'm here to introduce Kathleen Sweeney from BookBrush. And for those of you who don't know what BookBrush does, I use it for all of the social media graphics for the Guild, my background on my Zoom meetings, a lot of anything I do for my books. So BookBrush is an excellent resource. I'm Kathleen Sweeney. She's the Chief Operating Officer at BookBrush, where she combines the love of technology and storytelling to help authors with book marketing. And she has presented to over 300 author groups and thrives on making design and promotion easier and fun for writers of all genres. She lives in Central Illinois with her husband, 3 active boys, and the 2 most handsome cats on the planet. Her hobbies include eating tacos and turning socks right side out. Over to you, Kathleen.
All right. Excuse me. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me, everybody. So we have kind of a 2-part workshop. So the first part will be PowerPoint, but I promise it's not death by PowerPoint. We will do some tips on social media graphics, how to do them, what's a good idea, some things behind it, and tons of great examples. And then we'll get hands-on and I'll do screen sharing and we'll do that. So for the first part, when I do the PowerPoint, I'll go ahead and share that and I'll take questions. I think at the or I'll pause periodically because I don't want to get too far into the hands-on session and you're like, wait, what? I had questions on that. So we'll just do a mixture if that's okay with you guys. We'll just do questions and I'll pause and ask. So let's see if it's going. There we go. Okay. So this is the PowerPoint section, and we want you to be able to write and then share and succeed. But I think a lot of people struggle with what to put on social media. So I want to give you tons of ideas so you go home this afternoon and you're all excited about creating some graphics. So a little bit about the company that I work for. And about me too. BookBrush has been in the author space since 2018, and we started as a do-it-yourself platform for authors. And that's what I'll show you at the end when we combine together the hands-on section. And these are the tools we have. And then we have done for you options, and I'll show you some of those things too. And you can always just look us up. It's a website, bookbrush.com. But I promise I'm not real salesy. So Kevin did a nice little introduction here. So these are, in fact, the 2 most handsome cats on the planet. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, that's my LinkedIn there too. So a little bit of overview. We'll talk about why visuals matter on social media and give you some graphic basics and branding basics so that you can take those tools and use those wherever you're creating graphics. And then lots of real life ideas and examples on what to post. And then we'll do the demo, which is going to be really fun. So first of all, I want to give you a caveat of these stats that I put together are from what I would say various sources across the internet. So they're a general sense of trends. Please don't take them as like a rigorously verified stat. But why visuals matter on social media? Let's say these are pretty accurate. 65% of people are visual learners. And so when you put that into what kind of posts they're looking at, posts with images, not just words, can get up to 2.3 times more engagement. And that's what you want. If you're going to take the time to post, you want to get engagement. Those images work really well. As a whole, we process images. This is 60,000 times faster than text. Think of that. Like you look at it and you see it. So people are going to decide in seconds if they want to read more about your book or decide to learn more about you based on the visuals and graphics that you're posting. So you want to make them really great. Social media is really just your book storefront. So you really want to make it enticing and compelling. So let's keep talking about why visuals are so important. We process things so fast, and 90% of that info transmitted to the brain is visual. I love like these fun number things, so I threw a lot of them in here. And I also think when you have consistent visuals, that helps build familiarity and trust. Good design is credibility. So if readers start to recognize you and your graphics look polished, people are subconsciously assuming, guess what? I think the book's probably pretty good too. And so those graphics are going to help you along the way with building that credibility. So those are some tips on why visuals matter. And then what makes a great author graphic? So on these social media pages, what should you be putting in there? Let's break down what would make a great graphic. First of all, make sure your message is clear. Use the hierarchy. So your most important message, the title, the price, the most important thing is going to be front and center. And you also want to avoid visual clutter. Keep things clean in your graphics. So if you've got way too much text, too many colors, you've used every single thing you can think of in there, that's going to be where people just want to scroll right past that. They're not going to stop and look. We also encourage you to stick to brands and fonts, things that are on brand for you. So we'll talk about this as we go along here, but you'll want to pick some branded fonts and some colors. And that help consistency was going to help build that recognition over time. And when you go to in-person events, maybe that's the color you always wear. Maybe the colors are going to be with your genre, but use those to your advantage. A few more things about the graphic. Make sure you're using high quality images. And so the low resolution on those equals low credibility because they look crummy. So you want to look polished. If you end up using BookBrush, our background library is a great source. We source from Pixabay. So Pixabay is a great place to find graphics and things to use in your background of your images. And then don't forget a call to action in your graphics. So that's going to be something like read now, on sale today. It's telling your readers what you want them to do. You don't want to just assume people know what to do. So you can go ahead and tell them right in the graphic. And I'll show you lots of examples with that in there. And then let's do a couple things on branding basics. So this is your author brand. So when people look at your social media pages, you want them to get a feeling and a sense, an overall vibe or aesthetic. So think about some of your favorite authors. You recognize their covers, that style of their content, and you know it's them and you know what you're getting. So that's going to be a goal for you. Branding equals trust. So pick those things and stick with it. When you're talking about color for your brand, you can pick anywhere from 3 to 5 basic colors, and that's what you want them to align with your genre and the vibe and make sure they reflect. So just because you like these colors, they also kind of need to reflect your genre. So maybe, for example, in romance, you would use some soft pinks. Fantasy might be some brighter jewel tones, emerald green, sapphire, and amethyst. And in BookBrush, there is a brand kit. You can set your colors in there so you can automatically go right to those colors and stay on brand for yourself. Couple more. Let's talk about the fonts. So we're kind of font nerds over here, and there's blog posts that we have on font pairings, but fonts do subconsciously give off a vibe. So there could be a font that has a feel like a thriller font. You don't want to unwittingly use that in a graphic that's promoting a historical fiction book because it's going to give a mixed message. And so you want the right font that communicates your genre, and then not too many fonts, not too busy. A bold font for what's at top, and then maybe a second font for body or text. Sometimes you can use 3 fonts, but you just don't want it to be too crazy, and you want those to pair nicely together. So if one is bold, the other ones need to be a little more subtle. They wouldn't all be flashy. And then we'll talk about images and mood. Do your graphics that you posted already match your story and your series or your author tone? Are they moody, cozy, suspenseful, the steamy ones? So sit there and think about, what do your books have for images and mood? And then are your graphics matching those? And that's what you want to strive for. One more slide on branding basics. Think about author name recognition. So you can drop your logo in and make sure you're using that on your graphics and use the same one or the same stylized name. So maybe you don't have a logo, and that's okay. But when you put your name on there, you want to use the same font and the same style consistently so that people recognize it's you and that it's on brand for your genre. So put that on all your promos, and the branding starts to show through. And a little helpful tip for you. Some people create like a look and feel document. So a little 1-pager that you keep handy because you've got enough things to remember. So you don't have to remember your favorite font names. You can just have a document with those, and it can be your colors, and remember here, you don't want to just say purple. There are color codes. So you can have those color codes handy. So when you go into different design tools out there, you can drop in that color code and everything stays on brand for you. And other style references and things like that. Those are going to be helpful to you. And then if you're ever working with somebody else or doing batches, things like that, you can just refer right to that, your color codes, your favorite fonts, and you can do a brand kit if you're working in BookBrush. So now I think we'll talk about what to post. So you want to post. You need this social proof. It's super important because if you think about right now, if you haven't posted a lot of things on social media and somebody tells a friend, hey, did you hear about that book from to go look at your social media. If they don't find much, they might move on to another author. Those are the I want to give you a lot of ideas so that you can post consistently and a lot without always just saying, hey, buy my book. So some examples are quote snippets. That's a short, powerful line from the book, and it can be romantic, haunting, funny, emotional. And these work because they tease what's happening in the book, the voice, the mood, give readers really a taste of the writing style, and create an emotional hook. More content ideas, story glimpses. These are like a little micro scene or a little teaser. And these work because people are wondering, they get curious. And then the engagement is there because with the curiosity engagement, people might wonder and ask, and lets readers really start to imagine the bigger picture. So these are the first examples that we just talked about, snippets and story glimpses. And we'll talk about, these are ones that our graphic design team made. And I threw in tons of examples because I think your group has people in a lot of different genres. So in this first one, there are technically just two fonts. There's the top one and the second one. You get a complete vibe, and then the author has their logo, which is their title and their author name in there, and that's highlighted with a red and intense color here. Over on the right-hand side, two different fonts, two different colors, a nice bold graphic, and this one, and I like this idea, you can do this in a lot of design tools, include your social media handles at the bottom of the graphic. That makes it really easy if somebody shares it or they see it somewhere else to be able to track you down and learn more. Couple more in this theme, more examples here. So the one on the left, you've got the crime scene tape, the just two colors. The fonts are the same font, and it's like a little bit of interrupted text. It's got like that, weathered feel to it. A little band at the bottom with the social media handles that you definitely can tell. We don't have pink and purple flowers here. That is a complete opposite to this cozy fun one on the right-hand side. And on that one, you've got another little fun snippet. The font is the same, but what it did was a smaller size and tightened it in a little bit. So you get some depth and some difference by using the same font in two different ways. And then the background is just much lighter and fun. So with either of those, you get the feeling. If somebody came to that author's page or saw that graphic, you know what you're getting. A few more because I wanted to keep lots of genres in play. So on the left-hand side, you've got Scott Blade, and his character, Jack Widow, is like a Jack Reacher. So he's got an intense picture of a character from the book. That's Jack Widow. So you get that repetition. You can tell he's definitely a beefy guy. And then some text in there in intense colors, and it tells a little bit of a story there. Polar opposite to the graphic on the right. Look how deep that one is. So you've got the book cover, similar colors. Text at the top really matches the colors that are in the background and in the book cover. And then the QR code is not a bad idea. You can make a QR code that sends people to wherever you want them. So just a step back, because I hate when people talk at 10,000 feet, you might not know. The QR code, it stands for quick response, and it's that little digital box right there, and people scan it with their phone. And you see them a lot. And I think maybe courtesy of COVID, we got a little more used to using those because they were out there and people needed a way to get information. They didn't want to touch everything. And so you make that and it links it to a URL. You choose the URL, and ideally, it's your URL, your website, something that you can continue to update because then it's evergreen. So maybe right now in this series, she's only got a couple books, but if this graphic was seen later, or it's really nice on printed materials if you hand out a bookmark or your business card, because they can scan it later and you continue to update so they have all that up-to-date information. So I definitely think QR codes have a place. I wouldn't use them a ton on social media because you have to scan them with your phone. And if you're looking at it with your phone, that can be a little tricky, but you can drop them in there from time to time. And a few more here. These have the characters in the background and just show some intensity. So the one on the left, a character from the book, an easy little quote. And then what we would call this at the bottom, it's like the logo fish with the book title and the author's name. And it happens to have the series name too. So you know what you're seeing and it gets that familiarity. You can do a lot of these on your social media page. On the right, you can almost feel that motion. It's a very similar image to what's on the book cover. And then at the bottom, this gold bit really kind of highlights the author's Facebook and Instagram. So that's a nice way. The font's really large and easy to read. And you get that same look and feel with the background and the book cover. So I'm going to pause. Were there any questions that anybody wanted to ask about those types of graphics before we go into a lot more examples and ideas?
If you have a question and you're in the room, go ahead and go to the mic. Anyone on Zoom? Since I can't see everyone with the PowerPoint up, just unmute and ask your question.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Are your graphics generated by AI?
It depends on the author. So those are ones that we've done for our full service clients. And when they partner with us, they let us know if they're comfortable with AI. And so some of those, yes, you can tell the characters. They're just a little too smooth. They're too good looking. And so those are probably ones that are from AI. If you're creating your own in BookBrush, and I'll show you those, you would be in charge of if there's AI because you can bring in your own images that are AI, or you can source from Pixabay and double check. And you may know this, when you check on Pixabay, you can see how the person submitted it. So you can tell what kind of camera they used or if it was generated by AI. I'm not going to go into, there's a place for AI and some people like it, some people don't. I'll let everybody have their own opinion, but you can decide how you want to do those. But some of these examples do have AI. So good question.
Hey, Kathleen, this is John. It came in a little late. The previous image you put on the screen, those are postings that you would put on social media to promote a respective book. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Let me back it up. And probably I jumped in with both feet without saying all that. So all these examples are to give you guys ideas of what you can post on your author pages on social media, because you don't want to just post a sale graphic every single day, but it's important to have a well-branded presence because you need lots of different content. So your goal would be to create an experience on the page. And these are ideas that to keep it posting. So if you want to post 5 or 6 days a week, that's great. But you need some ideas because you're going to run out of thoughts. And so I want you to have lots of ideas of what you could create so you can post consistently and really have that social proof on your page with a lot of variety. So yes, these are things that you could create, or if you ended up wanting us to do those too. But I just want you to have a lot of ideas, brain fodder.
Thank you, Kathleen. One other question. And how soon before the release of a book do you do these postings, and how long after the release of the book?
So, I mean, in a best case scenario, authors are posting several times a week all the time because you never know when somebody else is going to know or find out or say, hey, did you see that book by John? And then they come over and check it out and you want fresh content coming along. But I know a lot of people like to sleep at night, so that you got to set yourself a goal for how many graphics can you really make and post. A lot of people I know, and we have 100,000 users on BookBrush. They'll sit down maybe on Sunday afternoon, do a handful of graphics, and post for a couple weeks, and they're content with 2 or 3 posts a week. They schedule them, and then their social media is humming along. So just consistently. Now, if you've got a new book coming out, If it's in a series, you could go ahead and promote the previous books for a month or two first and keep those exciting. So then you're kind of priming everybody for the additional books, that kind of thing. You can do cover reveals, countdowns, all of those kind of things too. So I don't think there's one right answer, other than not posting is not a good idea. One definitely do some posting.
Thank you.
Yep. And Tessa, you had your hand up.
I did. Thanks, Kathleen. Just curious how BookBrush handles sort of graphics for mysteries or historical fiction.
So well, I have two answers. Well, I always have more than one answer. For one thing, in the do-it-yourself platform, you're designing yourself. So you'd have tons of options. And when we talk about, like, especially I've talked to people about historical fiction, think about when you're doing the graphic, what you really want. Like, search something interesting like pocket watch or something kind of narrowing it down. Because if you just put like history, oh my, you're going to have way too many because it's sourcing from Pixabay. So I talk about narrowing your search, and maybe it's a corral or a certain kind of thing, because there's a lot of things from historical to like England to ranches out and, so you, as you know, narrow down some of your search words. And I think you'll be happier with the graphics and the things that you find. And then if you're hiring us, we'll do a lot of the research and match up to the time period for your graphics too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Will you talk later about the services that you offer?
I'm going to do it all. You'll be here all day. No, I'm sure they're going to yank me off of here at some point. But so I'll go through the done for you options, and then we'll get hands on, because I'd love everybody to be able to do their own. But you can take these tips and go to Canva or somewhere else too. So I wanted to make sure you just have lots of ideas, and then you can decide where to do those.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling along because I have a lot to say. So we'll just keep going, and you guys can just butt in, Michelle. If there's a really burning question, just let me know here. More ideas. So what else could you post? Something that says join my newsletter, or you're giving something away for free. So this graphic is going to invite readers to join the newsletter. You want it to be really eye-catching, something that maybe has perks. Like, why would they want to join your newsletter? Because there's something free, a bonus scene. They're going to get an early notice about releases. These are good because they build a direct connection with your readers, because you're giving them something and talking about what they can get, and something that offers the clear value. So that's like they're in your exclusive fan club. So I like these. Oops, I went the wrong way, guys. Hang on here. So here's some newsletter graphics. The one on the left is unlock your free read. The background really isn't competing. It's just kind of this rose, but the colors match, and it tells people what they're going to get. Free in bold letters, and VIP access. So that's a great way. Now, it is not possible to embed a hyperlink into a graphic. So you need to do the link in the caption area or in a QR code. So when you see these, don't panic that there's not, well, how do they sign up? That's what you're putting in your caption area. And then the one on the right is really clean. This author has some like Christian intense fiction, but you don't get those purple flowers and pink flowers. So it's nice and clear and communicates the kind of branding that you would get with that author as well. A couple more newsletter ones or freebies. So on the left, the background, I like that it's blurred a little bit, but you get a whole different feel. Those colors at the top match the colors in the book cover, and they want you to join the art team. And here's where to do it. Over here on the right, a good call to action. Step into their world. The characters are Smiley and McBlythe, and they want you to sign up now. And guess what? You get something free. The word free if you have something free. So the whole graphic is really clean, and it lets you kind of feel the experience. So those are just some examples of, if you want people to join your newsletter, here's graphic ideas for those things. More ideas on what to post? I'm full of ideas. So reader reviews. This is taking a quote and showing it visually from a reader or a reviewer. Something short is fine. I couldn't breathe during the last scene. Overlaid on some kind of coordinating background that gives off the right vibe for your genre, and include the book cover so that you don't have to make it really hard for them to figure out what book was making it really hard to breathe. This is social proof. So it's somebody else saying it about your book, not you. So the reader reviews are really good for that, and a little bit of an emotional tease too. So these are pretty effective, and I've got some examples for you. So reader review on the left, you've got just two fonts up there, the text from the review, and it's noted it's a reader review. Then the book covers front and center. It's in two different formats, and I think that can be a good idea. Anytime that you visually show that your book comes in two different formats, readers can see it comes in two different formats without you saying, woohoo, you can get my book in two different formats. So you can always put those both in there. And then the background coordinates that it gives off that Halloween vibe. Over on the right, you have a reader review, and it's really simple. You got a nice little border, the review in the center, and the book is highlighted there too. Different vibes, different genres, things like that. And some more. The stars. So if you have a 5-star review, you can put those stars on there. Subtly on the left, you've got this is a medical thriller. And so you can see in the background, that kind of gives off a vibe. So when they looked for a graphic to use as the background, they put in something that kind of subtly gives that feel. And then on the right, what a way to highlight your book. It's literally on a pedestal, the review at the top, and everything about that tells you the intensity of that book. You can see those lightning things on the side and that kind of thing. So consider doing a reader review graphic. You can do those twice a month. Just say, okay, every other week I'll do one of those. It breaks up the content that I'm posting, and it's some social proof. Next idea, trope graphics. I love trope graphics. So what is this? This is when you have the different themes. It's going to highlight your book is often in the center or off to the side, and then list the different tropes or themes that people want to read. So enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, only one bed, Irish witches. They don't have to be all romancy. You could have Cold War thriller. Sometimes it's a setting. Maybe people want to read about Alaska. So you can put those things in there, and you want the mood in the graphic to match, so you don't want it super intensity and thriller feeling if it's a light, cozy romance. These work because of the emotional hook that you get. It's really shareable. So if you created a graphic and it's on social media, it would be wonderful if somebody else shares it. And so if you have something like this that signals exactly what's there and tells reader what to expect, people might share it as well. So let's look at examples. So when I say trope graphics, this is what I'm talking about. The different themes and tropes are right there front and center. No big paragraph, no big wording, talking. It's just putting these things out there. The background is not necessarily as important. It's kind of second stage, but you're listing out those different tropes that people would be looking for. And if they love paranormal mysteries, they want to know that you have a paranormal mystery. Please help get your book in the hands of the right people who want to read those different things. On the Alessa Thorne on the right, there's really not much to the background. It's pretty simple because what you're wanting to do really is highlight those different tropes. More trope graphics. On the left, pretty simple again, different feel, different vibe. When I talk about creating an experience on your page, each of these gives off the feeling and the experience that you would want to be posting. A couple different tropes on each one. Simple, but it helps people see. A couple more here, because I wanted to do lots of different genres. And we have all of these. I have coined these the adorably flirty arrows. So if you see these, a lot of times there's those little arrows all pointing to the book and showing people all of these things are in here. Enemies to lovers, an alpha male, all those things. But again, the background's pretty simple. It's just there to highlight the book and the tropes. Super cute option on the right-hand side with little strips in there and the different tropes listed, different themes. Background is simple, tropes, and book. You guys wrote the book, so hopefully you're able to figure out the tropes. We would have work with the author, otherwise we would have a harder time with those too. All right, I definitely love this one because look how subtle that is on the left. I love the heart. So we're not even saying necessarily romance, but with a heart there, that communicates that visually. And then you've got the different tropes. And then on the right, bold color blurs or like brush strokes. And then you just list your tropes right on top of there. You can do these for a series, you could do them for individual books. And each of these are just to give you ideas that you're like, okay, once or twice a month, this is a graphic I'm going to do. Pretty soon your calendar's full because you have a lot more ideas instead of just like, oh, I need a post, I'm going to put it on sale. And then you're posting a sale graphic. People will be tired of the sale graphics before they get tired of seeing these kind of things. Okay, more things. Engagement posts. So we talk on social media about reach and engagement. Engagement is when people interact. You want to do things that will encourage people to interact. If you just put a pretty picture of your book, they can say, great looking cover, but it's not encouraging a comment. If you have a graphic or post that asks an interesting question, or everybody wants to give their opinion, so ask for their opinion. Share a tidbit about yourself and spark conversation. That's when you start to get comments back because you've really encouraged them to comment. So we would call that an engagement post. Post something that encourages engagement. This is good because you want interaction. The algorithms like that. They'll probably show your post to more people if it's gotten a lot of interaction. And so it also is a way with that interaction to get to more people and make readers feel like they know you because you ask them questions, you can comment back. So again, algorithms like that, and you're doing commenting, and they're part of you and your brand and your world, not just in the audience, not just looking. So the engagement posts are a fun idea. So open-ended question. On the left, do you enjoy reading early in the morning or late at night? The author has her logo at the top, colors that would be similar to her brand, so nothing real splashy. She has clean historical fiction type of things, and that would encourage people to respond. An either or question on the right. So I have not spent any time actually pondering what I'm going to do during a zombie outbreak. But if you write about zombie thrillers or things like that, your followers probably have been thinking about what they're going to do during a zombie outbreak, and you might want to ask them. So these are just two examples. You came up with the question, an A or a B. I do like A or B because people can answer quickly. They don't have to come up with their own answer. And this has the author's logo subtly above that, but I think that's a great idea. Just ask a question, and you can do other hashtags there of question of the day, maybe not even book related followers, but any kind of engagement you get is good for the algorithms. More types of engagement. So on the left, these are characters from the book. This is Josie and Drew. And guess what they're doing? They're hiding in a secret Manhattan loft. And so the people who are reading this series from the author know about this. And it's talking about some things that they have some challenges. Would you rather be live broke but free or wealthy but hunted? Wealthy but hunted, and then love and hiding or alone but safe. So questions that are specific to your characters in your series, those are a good idea for engagement posts too. And then, this is reading land. Your followers are likely readers, so you can ask them things about, hey, how do they organize their books? You could bring in a picture of your own bookshelves, or there's oodles of bookshelves out there on stock photo sites. Just ask a question. What's cool about this is at the bottom, you're asking them to share their bookshelf organization. That might result in a photo, which is fine. So they could add that in the comments and show off how they're organizing their books. More for engagement. This is actually the author on the left-hand side. So she dropped in a picture of herself and then talks about what she does. She likes tea. So she's not a coffee. Let's see. That was black coffee. Sorry, wrong person. In a teacup, not a mug. So then tidbit, people learn something about her. Maybe they'll comment back. So share a little something about yourself. It doesn't have to be super personal. But again, people want to find out behind the scenes of you and know a little bit more about you. This is a great idea. And then on the right-hand side, this particular author had just been on a trip to China. And so we've got food and asking questions about food. What's the spiciest dish you've ever tried? So it doesn't matter if they haven't been to China, but they can still chime in. So that's another idea for engagement posts. Let me pause. Any questions? And I'm going to get a little water and we'll keep going.
Anybody on Zoom, raise your hand or unmute. Questions? Anybody in the room? I guess you're doing such a great job, Kathleen, that no one has any additional questions in their brain.
We're going to go with that. Not that everybody is bored to death. Okay. Character posts. So think about the characters in your book. This works for standalones, but super good for series. This is a post that highlights a character. The thing that's good about the series is the characters in there a lot. It talks about what the character would say, a behind the scenes insight, about the personality or the quirks of the character. And this is great because you really want people to get emotionally involved in your characters and curious about them and to want to learn more because then they want to read more books in the series. And it really helps turn your characters into people that they either hate to love or love to hate, those kind of things. So this is a character post. This author, we worked with them and did 2 different characters and just kind of made it like a case file. Those are AI images based on what the author said that their characters would look like. And then we have the briefs. So you could sprinkle these in your social media. They're not salesy, they're kind of interesting. And people like that kind of thing to learn a little bit more about those characters. On the left, we've got our Jack Widow guy, deep and intense. The colors match that kind of bold thing there. So that's something about the character. And then complete opposite. I love these ladies on the right. Now, I think that is an AI, but you can tell this is just cozy, a cozy mystery. I mean, this quote really rings it home. Honey, if gossip could solve crimes, this town would be the safest place on earth. You can hear them saying that. I like these 2 together because they show you their complete opposite. So what you're getting with your Scott Blade book on the left is not what you're getting over here from Jodi Allen Bryce with her book. So those kind of background book characters, people gravitate towards what they want to read. So those posts are great. Couple more here. Have you thought about splitting your character's face in half? Possibly not, but both of these work really well. These are the same book, the 2 different characters with a quote from the person. So on the left, that's Ellie. She's in the book. This is a quote that she would say. And then on the right, you've got Sam. And these are pictures that the author was fine with using. Some authors stay away from the face. They want people to just imagine it themselves. But you can personify your characters and include things like that. And I do like the book cover on there, if you're comfortable putting that on there too. This one on the left, you've got the person with the book cover in there, and it kind of talks about the whole book. Like, it's not just a book character. So it's a forensic romance, and the point of view character, Savannah, and you're learning a quote from Savannah. What would she say? A day of love is worth more than a lifetime of regret. So it really makes it like people get to know that person. The boldness of that one, I think, is a great opposite to the one on the right because it's a lot dreamier and you've got some of that like fairy enchanting and cool stuff there. There's technically 3 fonts, but I'm going to call the Jillian more of just like a logo kind of thing. So those are some book character ideas for you. And you could do those, just a couple times a month or here or there, but just get people excited about the characters and wanting to know more. All right, so now setting or world building. So we talked about the characters, but also think about the setting in the background of your book. Give your followers or people who you want to be your followers a glimpse into the landscape of the book. It can be the town name, a piece of a map, the landscape, so that they look at that and they get the feeling. Readers love to be immersed. So this works because it gives them an entry point into the world. And then when you see these examples, you'll get it. Okay, these are totally opposite. On the left, you've got this kind of interesting compound land. And I'm not even sure if it's Tyrants or Tyrants in the mountain pass and the river, all of that ancient battles. That looks completely different from this kind of Southern charm, calm with the different stuff on the right-hand side. So you have your book and you'll know what kind of background and what you picture. Put that into, put your words into a picture. And those kind of posts can help people put themselves into the settings or the scenes really easily. Neither of those have the book cover, but they both have the author's name. On the left, it's at the top, and on the right, it's at the bottom. So people could find you and feel like if that image appeals to them, they're already drawn in, and then they want to learn more. Okay, so those are all of my graphic examples, and we had designers make those. So that's a designer's view, but I'm going to show you how you can make some things in BookBrush that I think you'd be really happy with because you know those things. But before we do that, I've got a few other ideas. Videos. So we create vertical videos for authors. You can hire us to do them a la carte. You can also make vertical videos in BookBrush, but I just wanted you to know that they exist and they're really kind of cool. So this is a short, engaging, they're videos that are vertical. Vertical's good because your phone is up and down when people are looking at them. So they're making the most of that real estate, that vertical format. And it's a couple lines, a little excerpt. You want it to capture attention. These work because they combine music and animation and video background for intrigue and emotion. It hits all those different points. So I've got some examples for you here. And let's hope that we can hear. Fazia, you're the one I can see, so I need you to thumbs up me if you can hear this, all right? So it's like a book trailer, mini little book trailer. And we can do those one by one for you. That would probably be a little harder than what you could create in BookBrush, but it gives you an idea. People were drawn in on those things. I've got two more different vibes on each one. All right, who's running to look up that book? Draws you in. And then one more. Here's my third one so these are vertical videos, kind of like book hook ideas. Oops, sorry. We want to see this one. All right, so those are vertical videos. And let's see here. Kathleen, you're my new favorite. You're Kathleen too. Said you can also post them on Amazon with the book. So super good idea there too. So next up, I'll talk about a couple of our do it for you. So we do one thing called hourly concepts, meaning you just buy hours and the projects are priced by the hour. And a vertical video like that is a 2-hour project. So we have some people who buy 5 or 10 hours a month and order some of those things. Those standalone graphics would be a 1-hour project. So if you're thinking, I really like these, and after we do the do-it-yourself stuff, you don't want to do that, you can always message us and we can talk about doing some a la carte projects for you, and then you just do the posting. Just as an example, if you did a 10-hour subscription monthly and you had 10 hours to spend, you can get 2 vertical videos and 6 of those social ads that we looked at. So what you could do with that then, just a sample posting rhythm, if you're thinking that you want to have some consistency and you would have for that 10-hour project or package a month, week 1, you would be able to post a vertical video and a social ad, then the week in between, 2 of the social ads, and then repeat. So a little bit, take the work off your plate because we do the work, but you still get to do the posting and you can enjoy writing the captions and things like that. We have a full service one where we do everything. We're the admin on your page. The Facebook and Instagram package is $5.97 a month. It's pricey. I know it is. So I'll just touch on it. If you want to talk to me more about that later, we can always do a call. It's priced right, I think, for the amount of work it is, but it's not for everybody. So just bear that in mind. If you really want to offload this at some point, we're there for you for that kind of thing here. And this is where you could book with me. But it's also just email us support@bookbrush.com and we can do that. But what I really want to do is get hands-on. So the next thing will be using BookBrush. And can you guys remind me what my cutoff time is? Because I don't want to go too far.
You have about 25 minutes before we need to open up for questions.
Okay, fantastic. I can fill that and then some. So, but don't worry, you can tell me when to stop. And then here's where to find us on all of these things here. Okay, so then we'll talk about BookBrush. So BookBrush is an online website, and this is the company that I helped start. We've been in the author space since 2019. And really the thing I want to highlight is do it yourself and make you feel like you could tackle this. And you've got the ideas in your head now. So you maybe wrote down that you want to do some trope graphics and reader reviews. I want to show you the tools that you could make those yourself. So it's an online platform. This is where you sign in here, and I'm just in an account and we'll go through together. I want to go into, first of all, instant mockups. That's our most popular tool and really easy. So on the left-hand side, you can go to instant mockups, or at the top, there's also a drop-down menu and you can go down to hop in there too. And we'll just walk through. So this tool is our most popular because it's super easy. So I am a lucky girl because I have one of Kevin's book covers here we're going to use. We're going to use the vertical one. So in step 1, I'm clicking the book cover. I added it in before I started, but if you're new to BookBrush, you would just drag and drop and put that in there. And then down at the bottom, you can do some filtering by different kinds of things. If you want seasonal, like if you want summer, or if you want to do a genre, you can. Summer, for example, gives you 678 templates, so that's quite a few. What you'll do is just click. So I'm clicking and scrolling. I'm not holding shift or anything. Go through here. And people call these flat lays, all those things. It really just drops your book cover in so you can see it in all these scenarios. I don't have a pool. I don't live by a lake. So it would be hard for me to get all of these kind of graphics. Not a hammock either. So all these things are ways to put your book in all these different scenarios. I don't know if I did a vertical one. Let me grab one of those here and I'll scroll for a minute. Lots of different genres, seasons, all those different kind of things. So I'm not sure how many I did, but we don't want to do a ton because we've got a lot to see. So I'm going to go down to the bottom and do step 4, convert now. And I do warn people, I would just do a handful like that, like 20 or so, rather than at most. If you do 200, you're sitting there waiting for this all to download, which could take a while. But what you're going to get here is a handy zip file with your book in all of these different scenes, and you can post them on social media. So if your goal is to do more posting, this is a very quick way to have your book in all of these scenes. And as soon as we get across, we will download your images, and it's going as a zip file up here at the top. So we will double click. And if you're not familiar with a zip file, you have to extract all is how you get into it. And you have 100% ownership of these. They're going to download to your computer. And this is where I say, prepare to be amazed. Check this out. All right. So right here, I'm in Illinois and we're roasting. There's like this heat wave. It's 93 and 66% humidity. So anytime you can put yourself in a different scenario with these books, it's great. All right, look how quick we did that. So put your book cover in all of those different scenes, and that's in the instant mockup tool. And there are like about 3,700 different ones, and we're adding new ones each month. So lots and lots of different options in there. It is the most popular tool, but the feedback that we get from people from time to time is they would love to see their book in the image before they download and maybe do a little bit of light editing. And so you can click on this top peach stripe here and go into the 2.0 version, and you can do both of those. So this is Instant Mockups 2.0. And if you've been in here before, it'll say, do you want to start new? And I do, create new. Yes, I do. So I'll show you how you can come in and do this. I'd like to highlight down on the left the collections. So we'll click See All. And these are put together by a graphic designer. So we'll do this reader's template bundle. This is nice because it works for a lot of different genres here. We've got one of our trope graphics. So if you were thinking, oh, am I ever going to get that made? Plenty of them in here. All you need to do is on the left-hand side, choose your book cover. So we will put Kevin's in, and it's spinning. It's going to populate in all of those for us. Look at this. Lots of great graphics real quickly. And you can do light editing, so you can click the pencil on top. And I bet these are not Kevin's tropes. Go figure. So all you have to do is click the first one, and I don't know the thriller. I just got this book cover this morning. I didn't read it. So we will put, Kevin, you got anything for me? I should have warned you I might want a trope. I'm going to put fantasy.
Yeah, it's a fantasy medieval thing.
Got it. Okay, we will go from there. So what we would do is we can change it to fantasy. We'll just pretend that these are brilliant tropes. Kevin will be much better if I gave him notice, which I did not. You can change the font, so you could pick that to something different if you want to. And if it word wraps, you, of course, can make that bigger. What I want to show you is something really neat, though, our color picker. So the primary color here is kind of a maroon. If I click that and click the eyedropper and come over here, whatever I'm hovering over, it's going to match the color code specifically without having to know the color code. So we talked about making that document for yourself, but if you haven't done that yet, it's okay. Or you could use this to get your color codes, and you can go through. Here's my adorably flirty arrows. Same thing, bring it over and match all of those. So go through, change all of your tropes to something that works for you. And then background probably isn't quite the right vibe, and that's okay too. We can go to background, and we'll just put in night sky as an example. This moon's going to be amazing. Okay, so we have that in there. You could make it larger. You could make it blur. I would also be tempted to put it right in here. And then we'll click on the second chance. We'll just keep that as it is, but you could do the white for these to show up. So pretty quickly, as you work on each of these things and change them to your particular trope and colors and things like that, you are able to do a trope graphic that is really on brand for you. We'll just do that last arrow. I'm not going to do all of them, but you get the idea. And then you just click in the top stripe, save edits, and go back. And now that is really much more Kevin than what was there before. And then all of these are here for you. And you can change and discard, edit, delete something you don't want. And then the bulk editing is really nice because I've been kind of hitting you over the head with branding. Make sure that things are on brand for you. So on the left where it says primary font, if you go into the font and let's say I'm going to choose something that's kind of distinctive, this Lackey Ready, that changed everything that was tagged by the designer as a primary font to that particular font. So, hello, quick on-brand graphics. All of those just changed to that particular font. And then you can edit a little more things if you want to, but you don't have to. And then you would go ahead and download. So let me just do a couple more things that people might ask in here. In the currently reading, we will use the pencil to edit. And let's say we wanted another book. You can use the, let's see here. We can come over here to book template and we can add another one because sometimes people want to put a whole series. So we'll do physical book And maybe, you know what? Let's do the children's book. How about that, Kevin? I went to children's and he sent me a fun little children's book that he whipped up here. When you see this spinning, it means something good is happening here in BookBrush land. And I can make that one bigger too. And you can have both of those in the graphic if you want to. And you can send that behind so it sits behind the other one. And if you want to just multiple, I'm going to take that one out. And sometimes people just want to show several books in the series. We'll just do 2 of these and add it in there. So lots of different options. We can make that one bigger too. There are centering tools over here on the right. One click is grid lines and one click is centering tools. So sometimes what I'll do is just line that up and that way everything is touching, and bring this to the bottom. And we could resize that one. And then these arrows send it again in front and behind. We could have it there. So you could actually line up if you had 3 or 4 books and have them all in there. And then click Save Edits and go back. So lots of flexibility, but you're not starting from scratch at all. Then you download, and here's your whole batch of graphics that you can get scheduling and get on social media. Each one of them can be edited independently if you want to or need to, but you don't have to. And then let's do this giveaway one. Let's say this book cover is not, you don't want to do the physical book. You can just discard that and come over to the left to book template. We do have over 300 versions to show your book. So lots of variety. Under ebook, you'll see those space every which way. The physical books are primarily positioned so you don't see the spine, but there are some with spine. So you could bring your spine in here too and show it in all those different formats. Lots of different phones. So I think when people say, where do you get 3D books? BookBrush is definitely a place that you could do that. A ton of audio things in there. A lot of pre-made cover reveals that you can choose from. And then I also really like these multi-devices because we talked about showing your book in different formats. So I'm clicking the second one down on the right. And when I put it, it's going to show the book in several different formats. Once it gets in here. I think it was thinking. Let's see if it went. Here we go. I promise when you're not streaming live, it's probably a little faster. Get that in here. And I can move the giveaways if I want to. Probably this is too large, but I really wanted you to see the books. Can do that a little bit smaller. And we talked about that fun color picker. So you'd have the option to bring that in and match the blue. And you can do all of them. I'll just do the one. Save edits and go back. So there you go. So that's instant mockups. We have the original, which is the quick mockups, and then this 2.0 version, which gives you, either of them give you a nice batch of graphics. They download to your computer in a handy zip file, and then you can go over to social media and do that quick posting, scheduling, and you're set. But then I also want to show individual projects in the custom creator, but let me pause because I know I just sped through here and everybody's thinking she's a fast talker. What questions do you have for me?
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead and unmute if you do. Just so you know, I was wrong on my timing as well. Now you have about 20 to 25 minutes. I was 10 minutes.
Okay,
off.
that's okay. Well, and I'm in
have,
another time
Kathleen,
zone too. Yes.
I have a quick question on the videos. Do we own the videos? Are we once they're made? Can we air them or post them a year later, or do we have a restriction on how many times we can post them?
Nope. So anything that you make in BookBrush or you hire us to do, or any which way you get it, you have 100% ownership of that. When you're designing things in here, you can check Pixabay and make sure that you have backgrounds that are free for commercial use, or you can bring them in. But when we're designing, we make sure everything is, these templates are all set up for you And anything that you would order in hourly concepts would also be safe. And it's yours, you own it. So you can post it, repost it. The nice part about some of those videos is we'll add music, but you could also repost and mute the music we have, or just create something in here with no music and then choose trending audio. And that could be what changes it as you repost and things like that too. So good question. I see Fazia.
Yes. So the prices you gave us previously were if we asked you to do a project, but if we do it ourselves, what are the prices?
Way cheaper. I'll show you that here in 1 second. Then that way, yeah. So it's not a bait and switch. It's much cheaper. I'll show you that. And then Kathleen, you had a question too.
Yeah, I was just on the website and I was wondering if the discount that's going right now for the gold, does that apply to the premium or the next level up also?
It won't show on mine because I'm already signed in. Let me go to the pricing and then I'll talk you through it. So yes, part of that, I know I'll give you the answer. In BookBrush, I'm going to the pricing at the top. And the plans are plus gold and platinum. I'm in a platinum plan, but everything I've done, let's see, everything we've done you can do on gold. If you're not signed in, and what Kathleen saw is we have a promo that gold is the same price as plus. So you can get gold for $149. It's $50 off when you sign in. So yes, that option is there for you. The coupon is really tricky. It's gold 50 off if somebody wants to write that in there. So you could sign up and do the gold for $149. That one doesn't apply to the platinum plan, but it does give you a discount on the gold. And the instant mock-ups and all that are on the gold plan. And these give you unlimited downloads, unlimited everything. So you're not worried about credits or anything like that. Anything you could do unlimited downloads. And if you decide something you made, you ended up not liking it, it's okay. All right. Yes,
Can
Kathleen.
you also do videos under the gold? Or do
Yes.
you have to do that? Okay.
So there is a trailer creator in Platinum, but you can create some vertical videos. Probably not like what our design team made because they use some video editing software. When you hire us because you paid more money, they're doing some really elaborate videos like that. But there's some cool stuff, and I'll show you that you can do in here. And it's easy.
And can you pay for that monthly, or does it have to be a full year at a time?
It is yearly. We had considered monthly, but the thing is that we know with a lot of authors, they really need to keep those graphics flowing. And so we want you to have that ability throughout the year to keep up the posting, because you really don't want to just post to social media and be like, well, I've posted, now I'm set. It's not like it's a living, breathing thing. You want to keep posting. And so that's why we do unlimited downloads so that you can keep that flowing and you're establishing that author brand and the social proof and all of those things. And then Dan, what you have your hand up too. What's your question?
I was wondering how applicable these ideas are to nonfiction. So let's take a subject like physics or math. If I was writing a biography about Einstein or Tesla, I can readily see how to apply these techniques to their biography. But let's just say I was writing a physics book or a math book that really didn't go into the biographies of all the scientists and mathematicians. It was just talking about algebra and differential equations. Can these techniques be used with books like that, like textbooks that are not, you know?
I think so, because there's still an audience for that. People want to read those. So your reader reviews, if you've got reviews, those could work. Trope graphics in a different way, you would be listing like the types of things that they could learn in there. So they're not as tropey as themes and no of the fiction type, but I think you could still list the type of content. Like if people are wanting to know some really in-depth physics things, I don't know all the words for that, but you could list those kind of things in there. And so character posts are out, but some of the things would still work, I think. And maybe posting 5 times a week is too many times, but you need to have the book out there, because when somebody is looking for a textbook on that, you want them to be able to find your book. So the posts are still a good idea. I would just tweak them a little bit so that they don't seem too fluffy. you want a little more serious. So the backgrounds you choose might just be a solid color and things like that. And they're more informational and a more straightforward font, nothing swoopy or colorful there. But I think because a lot of these templates, the next thing I'll show you, you can do it yourself. You should be able to make those a lot more nonfiction oriented that way too.
Okay, thank you. It's a
Yep,
good
good.
presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's hop into, we'll go back to home here. And I'm going to go into the custom creator. So this is the first thing we built. It's our flagship tool. And you can go to that on the left to tools, to the custom creator, or again, top stripe and hop in here. And I refer to this as a gold mine because you're creating either with our templates or from scratch. You're going to do one graphic at a time, but there's so much you can do. And a lot of the work is done here for you as far as like researching. So the first thing you choose is your ad size. And if I click Facebook, each one of these things underneath here is something you need for Facebook, and the dimensions are in pixels underneath. So that's really helpful so you don't have to go out there and Google and be like, ooh, what are the dimensions for the Facebook cover photo. So those are there. Lots of things in Instagram. And then BookBub's real tiny. It's 300 by 250 pixels. So if you get a BookBub, that's fine. But I wouldn't use that size for anything else. I don't know how familiar your group is with Amazon A+ content, but you can design your own in here. And just to take a step back, if you have access to your own KDP dashboard, that's where you can upload in that from the publisher section. That's where Amazon A+ content goes. And the most popular are these 3 stacked modules. And it's been hard for people to design those, but they flow really nicely. So in our method, I'll click it. You would design it as one so that everything flows really nicely, but it downloads as the 3 images that you need. So then when you go over to your KDP dashboard, you can upload those 3 images. That might be a whole separate project for another time. But if anybody has questions on Amazon A+ content, you can always email us. Our emails support@bookbrush.com, and we can help you get a little more familiar with that too. Other things in here in BookBrush, we partnered with a platform called Atticus, and they're the inside of the book formatting, and we're more of the outside fun, graphics people. But you could design an ornamental page break or some of that chapter art and then take it over to Atticus. So we have the right sizes there. And then under other, I just wanted to highlight you can design bookmarks, coasters, book plates, and then send them to a printer, or maybe there's a local print shop. The book plates are great. Well, all these are great for if you do an in-person event, you can have these things at your table. And this is a tool to design them. So, there's a lot of design tools out there, and a lot of them are great. What I think is nice about BookBrush, my tiny sales pitches, everything's author related. So every time you turn around, it's something like, ooh, this would be good for an author. And some tools like Canva are great, but they're for everybody. So they may not have as much authory content. For example, in that book template, there's 300 3D versions for your book. So that can be really, really helpful. What I wanted to show you here are the community templates. So if you signed up and you're thinking, well, this is great, but I really don't know what I'm doing, come into these community templates. They're right above all the social media icons. And this is what our graphic design team put together. And you just edit each one of these. So you're not starting from scratch. You have all of these things to work from. And you can filter on the left by genre, and it can be multiple. So if you need mystery, thriller, and crime, you could choose all of those. For some reason, that's duplicating. That's interesting. And of course, the other romance. And just for my nonfiction inquiry, lots of things in here that would also work for nonfiction. And you can also substitute the background and change anything that's there to make it a little more you. Next, I'm going to open up the platform. This gives you a lot of options. So Facebook ads, for example, all those kind of things. And newsletter graphics, and you wonder, well, what's that? Those are just graphics to help encourage people to sign up for your newsletter. And it's a starting point. You can add your book cover, you can add different things like that. a whole section called Launch Party. So I know there was a question, how often should you post and when should you post? There's a lot of things in here. And I'm going to do one of these with you. So once we get to the one, all right, the one I want to click on is this orange one that says 5 days. And this will give us an example here. If you are coming in, you have access to all those templates, and all you would have to do is click the book cover, and you can use this lightning bolt in the lower left corner or up here in the top stripe and put your cover in. So it just takes a minute for it to populate. And then if you liked everything else about this, you can just go to the top and download. So you can download as a PNG, JPEG, or PDF really wouldn't apply here. You'd probably want a PNG or a JPEG. And then you can go ahead and download that. And then what's cool is, I'm going to click on that 5. I can make it a 4 and download, 3 and download, 2 and download, because you can create that excitement on social media. It doesn't cost any more to post on social media, and you have unlimited downloads. So now you've created this nice little cadence to build excitement. And then you could change your pre-order to now available, for example, and you could discard that book cover and come back to book template, and now you're ready to show it. So you could just have the actual book showing. We'll double click that. So one of my tips here is I always either use the slider over here on the left, or I hold the shift key, and that's because if you just drag the side, it can resize, which is great for children's books, mind you. But if you want the aspect ratio to stay the same, you may want to just hold that shift key when you resize. So you can place that in here, and then you could change it to today's the day, and something like that. What else is nice is, let me go ahead and click Save Changes. So if I've made this graphic, and we'll just put it in that it's my Square promo. So you're saving it just for yourself and your account. So we'll save that. And then if I also wanted to come to background here, and we're going to search Enchanted Forest. And then we don't need this orange blur, so we could take that out. This looks a lot different. I like the background. I would probably blur that a little bit so you get the feeling about it, but it's not as intense. And then we have a lot of other tools. I will try to take it just at a high level, but like under elements, you could grab a shape here, and I'll make it just a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it light colored, a little blur, a little transparency, and we're going to send it behind. And now there's a little bit of a glow. I think I want a little more transparency, a more blur. So that went from a shape to just a little bit of extra in there. Here's with nothing. Here's that glow. So lots of fun little tweak things that you may get in here and find yourself doing. And then you can go back to the top and click Save Changes. Instead of updating, which will override what you did, go ahead and save it as a new one. So this would be Square Promo number 2, save as a new project. And then you've got both of them. So if you come in another time, you can just adjust those. And then if you also said, okay, well, I've got the square and I want to post to other social media platforms that might be a different size, you can go over to Add Size, and then Facebook, choose the horizontal. And you've got all these same elements here. I could make that a little bit larger. And we could also just stretch it out. And we'll put that across the bottom. And this could be rearranged certainly in a different way. But you've got all the same elements. So as I'm insisting that you stay on brand for yourself, this is a great way to do that, because now you can download, but you could also save this one as horizontal, or you can name it by your book. This is just a name for you to find in here and save as a new project. You have unlimited number of saved projects, unlimited downloads, all those great things in here. So that's kind of the creating from scratch. Let me see if we have, are there more questions in the chat, Michelle? Are we good?
Oh, there is one question in the chat. One of our members asked if someone needs to create something that isn't just a book, say a brochure or a flyer for a book signing or an event, can BookBrush create that?
Well, I make everything in here. I would make Christmas cards in here if I still sent them. This is my go-to tool. So what I would say is you could go to custom and just put in the dimensions. It's going to be in pixels. So if you know that you need a 4x5 inch, you'd have to do an online converter to see. But even that, some of like the bookmarks are in inches. And so what I would do here is, if you know you want some of that, you could still pick background images. It could be solid color. Let me just delete this.
Yeah, so I think she's thinking in terms of like an 8.5 by 11 flyer size for distribution, physical distribution.
Yep. So let's just do the opposite of this, and we'll pretend that it would be kind of that size. So at least it's vertical. That gives you that idea. It probably needs to be a little fatter. How about this? I don't know what the quick conversion is, but if I use this eye icon, I can see everything here. We could make that quite a bit smaller. And then you can just add your text boxes and divide. You can add as many. So you have all the tools on the left, all the book templates, all the text boxes. And I think you could definitely come up with a flyer. In the images, you can bring in your own like logo and things like that. So I would totally make it in here. You just have to work with the different tools and things like that. I think it would work. All right. I want to make sure we do some of the quick down and dirty vertical videos that are in here since we had some questions on that. So in community templates, let me come to collections and the vertical videos. And let me go ahead and play one of these here. And we'll push play. All right, so that's going to download as an MP4. That's got music, animation, and video background all combined together, and all you have to do is click this lightning bolt. Kevin, guess what? You're going to go to the beach. We'll put your book in here. And then you could change the other ones if you wanted to change a new fantasy read or things like that, or color pick. But for quick vertical videos, and you want to test the waters on how some of those would do on, and vertical videos can be Facebook, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere that accepts an MP4. So download as an MP4 and do that. You can also take those other static graphics and add animation. So you can make something into an MP4, and all of that's on anything in here is on any of the paid plans. So you could start on the plus level, although gold's the same price right now. So that would probably be even a better deal. And you could make all of these kind of things in here. So I have more things to show, and I was going to touch on do-it-yourself covers because I think, there's a lot of people who do need to make their own covers. And Kevin even just whipped one up this morning, I think. So I want to show you how to do that. But any other questions specifically to Custom Creator before I go off into covers?
Doesn't look like any in the room. Anyone
Okay,
on Zoom?
perfect. I
Let's
don't
just
see
move
anybody on. Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
wonderful. All right, so we'll go back to home. And we started with just being able to do your own graphics and things like that. But people were saying these are pretty easy to use. The tools are handy. We want to do covers. So we did add the cover creator. So when you go to tools, you can go to cover creator. And this operates kind of the way we just looked at the other tools. You can do an ebook, print, or audio. And I'm going to talk a little bit, if you're going to design your own cover, and if you think at any time you're going to need print, I would start with print. And the reason is because then it flows. When you open the book up like this, the image goes across the whole thing. If you start with the ebook, you may have a perfectly lovely ebook cover, but then you're like trying to make this print wrap and like, what do I put on the back? So what I would suggest starting with print, and in here, this is going to default to Amazon KDP. You can also tick the box to do Ingram Spark. Choose your print type. It could be paperback or hardcover. And then a trim size. So they're going to start with the vertical versions and then go the other direction for children's book sizes. But a pretty popular size here is, let's say, 5¼ by 8. And then you're choosing your paper type. Fiction's usually cream and nonfiction is usually white. And it's your book. You can make the decision. But the thickness is different. So the printer's going to need to know which type of paper you're using so that they have the right paper type. And then you enter your page count. So let's say we did 290 and we'll click submit. What we have in the workspace here is the perfect size for Amazon KDP for a 290 page book with cream paper. That's a 5¼ by 8 paperback. So that's exactly what you need. And then you can design, and you have all the tools on the left, the background, text, images, elements, all those things. But that can be kind of intimidating. So just like we looked at a lot of those other templates, we have templates here on the left-hand side, and you can open up, there's filter by ebook, print, or audio, and there's also filter by genre. I'm going to do just print so we can look at those. These are for everybody in our BookBrush family. So my thing that I tell people is these are a great starting point, but I want you to change everything about it. So this lets you kind of think about what goes where on here. Here's a good place for the author name. Here's a good place for the title, and so on. But if all you did was just put in your author name here and nothing else, someone else could do that same thing, and then you have like nearly the same book cover. So use this as a great starting point and then change it as much as possible. So I'm going to take some of these things out of here and we'll go to the background. Let's say we needed a forest. So we'll start with a forest in here. And I don't need all of these extra black dark things. We'll take our text and just make it white so you can see it. But then let me show you something really cool with the background. And here's just a tip for personalizing. I've double-clicked the background image here. And let me make sure we've got it. We'll add a color behind. And then I'm adding a little transparency. All right, now keep your eye on the book cover. It is really changing the look and feel of that same forest. And so when you say, oh, well, other people could use these templates, but look, this doesn't look anything like what was there before. And it's going to be the chances of somebody else picking the same forest and adding the same amount of transparency with the same color underneath is very slim. So all of a sudden, it's really pretty unique. I also like doing like a little bit of blur for the background so you can still tell it's a forest, but it's not quite as obvious. It's not competing. But that would be a real quick option to do some kind of print cover. And then you would save this in your account. What's nice too is let's say you don't have your final formatted for print page count. You can get everything pretty much ready and save that. Now, I came in as a template on this. What you'd want to do when you pull up a template is you want to make sure you change. So if you're doing a, maybe you are still doing 5¼ by 8, cream, 290, click submit, it's going to change. See, it shifted a little bit. So you want to put in your details and save it. But then at the end, if your book comes out to be 298, it's all right. You can just come in here, update the final formatted for print page count, and click submit. It shifted the teeniest bit, and then you're okay. So save lots of projects in here and try different things. But if it's, budget friendly for you to design your own cover, we want to make it so you have the tools to do that kind of thing. Let's see if there's any questions on cover design. All right. Couple of things people ask about that white barcode box. It is just a placeholder. It will not be on your final download. Most people go ahead and let the barcode be added at the point of printing. So they let Amazon add the barcode. They don't do it in here, but you can bring it in if you want to. In the images section, there's all of these stamps that we put in, but there's a My Images. I've got pictures of myself. You could bring in your logo, all those things. If you want to bring in, you can. And you could bring in a barcode if you needed to. So we want you to have all of those flexible options.
We have a quick question from someone in the room.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hi, on a book cover, can you start with an image of your own?
100%. So, a couple ways I would do that. If it's going to be the whole background, then in the background step, I would click upload an image and you can bring it in.
Perfect.
The
Thank you.
background covers, but I have more answers because if it's just a picture of something small, like, well, I'm not saying you're writing with those big shirtless guys on the cover, but let's say you were, you could bring in an image with a person and we'll do the images. Let me go into regular images. As an example, I brought in this one of me, and I can use our background removal tool. Now, this actually costs a credit. It's included in Platinum, but it peels the background away. So if you buy a photo or get a photo somewhere else of a person and you want to have them in your scene, I don't need to be on the book cover, but maybe you've got, one of those guys in kilts or who knows what. Bring them in, and then they're like an image, and so I could add filters. And my husband took this picture. He's no photographer, but thankfully for these filters, it gets better. And you can bring it in. So I guess I wanted to say there's two ways. The background can come in. I know I worked with somebody who was doing like a desert theme, and they brought in their own. They took a really nice desert photograph, so super cool. Their background was their own desert option. But then also, people, animals, things like that can come in here, and you can really layer and create something cool. So the answer is yes, but there's more than one way to do it.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
We're coming down to the wire here.
Okay,
Are there
perfect.
any more questions from anyone in the room? I'm looking. Anyone on Zoom have a question for Kathleen? Is there one in the chat? Can someone read it?
I think we might be okay. I don't see one in the chat.
Yeah, it's more of a comment in the chat.
Okay, then Kathleen, it's all yours.
I think I could be here all day. I just want to make sure you know how to find us and for your specific needs, because BookBrush could really be a treasure trove of, graphics, covers, all kinds of things. We've just kind of hit the tip of the iceberg. I do want to show, and I'll put it in the chat, our YouTube channel. So we have over 500 videos that are a lot of little how-to and things like that. And just to kind of give you a way to look more about us and learn, I try to record a little 2 to 4 minute video of a little tidbit almost every week. I was losing my voice this last week, so there isn't one. But you can just look at these and be like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. Like we had one around holidays, put a Christmas tree in the background, and then on top of all the ornaments, add little pictures of your book. And all of a sudden you've got a completely unique Christmas graphic with your books on a Christmas tree. It wasn't hard to do, but you wouldn't have thought of it. And so people really enjoyed that one. It was really kind of fun. So anyway, I will give you your screen back. If you have questions, email me. Or we've got other, BookBrush how-to sessions you can join and learn more from me that way too.
Excellent. Thank you. Can everyone please give her a round of applause? So all I can say is, wow, that is a very extensive and inclusive of a great many tools, that particular program. It's also one that we use, the Guild does for our social media posts. Again, Kevin puts those together and Lynette puts them out, and we kind of tag team on that. Thank you, Kathleen, so much for coming and presenting today.
Thanks for having me. This was my pleasure. And my voice held out. I was a little worried. Last Saturday, I presented twice to the Motown Writers and then the Colorado Sisters in Crime, and I literally lost my voice at the end. But we made it, so we did good.
You did, and I expect you'll hear from a lot of our members in the coming days, weeks, and maybe even months about signing up. So I'm going to turn this over quickly to Lynette, because Lynette is going to be introducing our speaker for our next meeting, which is September 20th. Lynette? Lynette, are you there?
It would help if I would unmute. Here we go. Yeah, so next week we're going to be talking all about point of view. And if you're like me, we can always practice a little bit more on point of view. So our presenter is going to be Liz Tolsma, and her topic is going deep with POV. So she's going to be talking exactly what is it, what is deep POV, and she's going to delve into the two different meanings of POV. I've actually heard her do this presentation, and I'm so excited to share this with you. If you guys struggle with point of view at all, you're going to learn something. So we're really excited to have Liz join us next month.
You can find the information on our website. Again, that is Saturday, September 20th, right here in this room or right here on the Zoom at 9:30 a.m. Pacific for those of you outside our time zone. And we're just excited to have her. And again, thank you, Kathleen. A couple of quick reminders. Volunteers, if you have a volunteer heart, contact us. Membership dues to keep these programs going. We love to have your $25. Believe me, no one's getting rich or going to Vegas on that, but we are able to put out anthologies and keep the lights on. And that's about it. Anyone who is in the room, you're invited to go to lunch, networking luncheon at Melio's at noon. Thank you all for attending and hope to see you all next month.